So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all sure it's all sparkly, spanking clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The glory hole's like a dick theater. I've imagined your family.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime. I do.
We're not sluts.
We just love love. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mrs. Atom.
And this is Mr. Adam.
Welcome back.
Yeah, what up, y'all?
Yeah, it's another By the By for you this week.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we're doing a By the By redux, redo, return.
Yeah.
Return of the By the By.
We've had a lot of requests to revisit this topic, so we're going to do so.
So we're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Literally. What are we doing?
We are doing another pegging episode. So I think
Yes.
I know.
I
think
love pegging.
Our first, our third episode,
Yeah.
second, third, fourth.
It was early on.
Episode was on pegging, and we did a pegging 101, sort of a primer. We did not listen to that episode.
No, I honestly have
preparation.
no idea what we said then.
But look, we do it all the time, so I think we're still fucking pros.
And we want to bring you some fresh information and at least a fresh perspective.
With a better sound quality.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, so this I don't know, will this be a long one? I feel like I have a lot to say, so this might be a long episode.
Well, let's just get into it and see where it goes.
Before we jump into it, let's
Yeah.
talk real quick like. We have a birthday party coming up. Whose birthday party is it?
It's yours.
It's mine.
Yes.
So this will be at Our Secret Spot on December 28th.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Thursday. Suck it up, Buttercup. Yeah, it's going to be a big splish splosh party. It's a splashing party. So if you're in the Sydney area, come down and say hi.
Yep, we're going to take a part of Our Secret Spot and cover it in plastic and turn it into a splosh zone. That's really hard to say.
Splosh zone.
Yeah.
The first few rows will get sploshed.
Yeah, so we're going to make it into a splosh zone, and it's going to be a lot of fun with food.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then also we'll talk more about this in La Futura, but we have another pegging, we have another pendulum party. It's too many P's. I can't get my P's together. My P's and Q's, I'm missing them. Another pendulum party early next year in the first quarter. My guess is February, March, somewhere around there.
Yep, we'll get a date set and let you know.
As soon as we know, you guys will know.
Yep.
And then we also have next October, November. We're going to be spending a week at Passion in Paradise and a couple of weeks in Desire, both Riviera Maya and Pearl. So yeah, stay tuned for more detailed information on all three of those. And
if you'd like to come join us, by all means.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
By all means.
I
know, right? It's gonna be great. Yeah. So I think without further ado, let's talk about das Pegging.
Yeah.
You have like a huge list of notes over there, which
And
both
there's-
intimidates and arouses me.
And then there's still a lot of things that you want to talk about that aren't on there. So
I know.
it's going to be a lot of information.
I know. I'm so excited.
Okay, so let's first talk about what is pegging.
What is pegging? So, okay. And I'm going to have to pull up my exact notes because I want to make sure I talk about it properly. So the word pegging, so pegging itself has been around for a very, 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 very long time. In fact, the Marquis de Sade describes pegging in a 1795 book called The Philosophy in the Bedroom, which I think is kind of awesome that, one, the Marquis de Sade talks about it, because it's not painful if done right. But we often think Marquis de Sade is the name is the birth of sadism. But so this is a concept that's been discussed in the late 1700s. But even before then, it's discussed in Egyptian hieroglyphs. It's look, the idea of pegging has been around for a while. The name of pegging is something that is a little more recent. So in the early 2000s. And I got to there we are. In May 24th of 2001, Dan Savage on the Savage Lovecast talked about, hey, we don't have a name for what happens when a woman dons a strap-on, a dildo, and fucks a man. And so Dan Savage decided, look, we need to come up with a name for this. So he started a poll on his website to try to determine the best name for this act.
For that act.
For this act. The top 3 that filtered out were Bob, bend over boyfriend, which I love that.
Okay, that's cute.
Punt, because that's the act of kicking a ball for the other team.
Okay.
And then pegging. So that's, the origination of peg or pegging. Peg was a device once used to keep the butts of some very unlucky boys gaping open. So these were the 3 that filtered to the top. So you had bobbing, punting, and pegging. And then after a few months of sort of back and forth, in June 21st of 2001, pegging rose to the top. And that's where we now have the name pegging. So the name is only 16, 17 years old.
And I actually think it's a really great name, but it is interesting after living here in Australia because they call clothespins pegs. And so when you put your clothes on the lines, instead of using a clothespin, you use a peg.
Yeah.
And every time I hear that, I just have to giggle.
Well, and beyond that, even when we were interviewed by Mamma Mia and Daily Mail, when we said the phrase pegging, both the ladies the interviewers, were like, I have no idea what that has to do with sex. How does clothespin, or how does the device used to hanging clothes, what does that have to do with sex?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a relatively new concept, but it's still, it falls.
But the term has taken off quite a bit, and I actually do quite like it.
Oh, I think the term is absolutely fantastic, and it's relatively common in modern.
Vernacular?
Yeah, vernacular.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, even 2 years ago, or 2016, whatever, in Deadpool, Deadpool, I think Wade Wilson, that's his name, Deadpool. Yeah, his girlfriend pegs him for International Women's Day, and that's part of a sexual montage of them having sex over different holidays, but. The fact that they showed it on screen, that it was clearly what was going on.
Yeah.
As I recall, he doesn't really enjoy it, but it's still the fact that he tried it. That's what is kind of awesome about it and about pegging in general. You don't have to like it. It's just like everything else, but you should definitely try it.
It's not for everyone.
No.
Yeah.
But neither is vanilla ice cream.
Exactly.
So that for me was where I wanted to start when you're already taking clothes off.
Not clothes, just jewelry.
It starts with jewelry.
Yeah.
It moves to clothes.
Yeah.
But that was, so for me, I wanted to talk about like the history of the word, the origin, and then the history of the act, which I think we sort of covered a bit. Where did you want to start?
Is there anything more you want to say about that?
Well, there's probably a million other things I want to say about pegging in general, but I won't necessarily know until we get there. I want to talk about health benefits a bit. But
let's go ahead and get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good place.
Look, so there's a lot of both misinformation and confused information on pegging. Again, I'm going to pull up my notes here because I want to make sure I get it at least close to right. So the first question is look, the main goal of pegging is prostate massage. That is, I think, there are many goals of pegging, but I think for most guys, the prostate massage is a great feeling. It's a good feeling. You've also got that feeling of sort of giving up control and feeling what it's like to be the receiver or the penetratee rather than the penetrator. A lot of these, and I'm sure you and I will touch on both of those a little farther down the line. But I think the first thing to talk about is exactly what the prostate is. What is the prostate and what the fuck does it do? So admittedly, when we started this, when we started our relationship in the first pegging episode, I don't think I really knew what the prostate was or what it did. I just knew that I liked it and I liked for it to be touched. So the prostate, of course, is a walnut-sized organ, gland. It's a gland that is about 2 to 3 inches inside the anus, towards the belly button side.
Yeah, so it's towards the front, not towards the back.
Any fella who's ever had a prostate massage, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Any fella who's ever had a prostate exam, look, I enjoy them, so... But any fellow who's ever had a prostate exam, the doctor dons a glove, they lube themselves up, and then they put their hands palms down. You're bent over the table, and they put their hands palms down, usually their middle finger, into the anus to feel the prostate. And so they're looking for swelling, they're looking for abnormalities of texture. If you put your own hand, or ladies, if you put your hand into a man's anus, you'll feel the prostate. I think it feels very similar to the G-spot, the female G-spot.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's kind of spongy. It's one of these things is not like the others down here. You know?
Yeah, as you're going along, it's like once you get there, you're like, okay, yeah, this doesn't feel like the rest of the tissue.
Yeah.
Definitely something different.
So what the prostate does is medically it secretes this alkaline fluid. It's milky and white in appearance, and it's about 30% of the volume of semen when you ejaculate. Its main goal is to help neutralize the acidity of the vagina. So it's the vagina is naturally acidic, semen then is naturally basic. It's trying to neutralize that acidity so that the vagina doesn't
kill the sperm right away.
Hurt the sperm
Yeah.
As it goes in there. So that's its job. That's its main task to protect the sperm, or to help neutralize the acidity of the vagina. And then the prostate itself it's like a donut, and the urethra goes through it from the bladder. So you've got your bladder, and then below the bladder sits this walnut of prostate, and then the urethra tunnel, cord, pathway, I don't know, goes from the bladder to the end of the penis, but it cuts through the prostate, which is why, and we may touch on this again, if you get your prostate massage and you have to pee a little, you'll feel like you have to pee a lot, because you're massaging this organ or this gland that's right beneath your bladder. So by touching it and hitting it, it's like, holy shit, I've got to pee.
Right.
And if you look at cross sections of the male body, if you stick your finger in too far and start doing the come hither, you're going to hit the bladder. And by addressing the bladder, it's going to make you feel like you have to pee. So you want to make sure that you hit the prostate, not the bladder. So that's what the prostate does. So what does prostate massage? What's the benefit of massaging the prostate? That's a great question. And there's a lot of sort of back and forth on it. Look, apparently it helps with if you have painful ejaculations, which I've only met one person on earth that had a painful ejaculation. That sounds horrific. Of course,
that does sound pretty terrible.
Again, neither one of us are doctors, so we don't know, and we can't give advice on anything medical.
No, but if you have a painful ejaculation,
fucking go see
your doctor. Yeah.
Ejaculations are supposed to be fun. They're not supposed to be painful.
Yeah.
Apparently, massaging the prostate can assist in erectile dysfunction.
Interesting.
It can, and this is one that I can definitely attest to. Midnight peeings. So the need to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Before you and I started doing prostate play, I was probably peeing twice a night.
Okay.
I would get up,
like in the middle of the night.
Yeah. I'd go to bed, wake up at I'd go to bed at 10, wake up at 1, pee, go back to sleep, wake up at 5, pee, go back to sleep, wake up at 6:30. That's not good for your sleep system.
No.
But after we've done prostate massage and pegging, I can go through the entire night. As long as I pee before I go to bed, wake up the next morning, I'm going to have to pee as I wake up.
Yeah.
But I can sleep 8 to 10 hours and not have to pee. It's a fantastic, like, that alone for me is
totally worth it.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. Not having to wake up to pee is fucking amazing. And then lastly is prostatitis. So there are vastly mixed ideas on whether prostate massage can assist prostatitis. Which
Is that inflammation of the prostate?
It's inflammation of the prostate. It's one of the, as I understand it, it's one of the precursors and sort of like warning flags for prostate cancer, and then other things. And there are studies that show that prostate massage can actually spread that inflammation around, and there's studies that show that it can help. There's studies that show that mixing it with antibiotics helps lower the prostatitis and make that inflammation go away. There's studies that show that there's no difference between just antibiotics alone and antibiotics and prostate massage. So
no real consensus then.
There's no real consensus on prostatitis, but look, it's a pleasurable thing. Massaging the prostate, and again, it helps you not have to pee in the middle of the night. So there,
you sleep better.
I love it. So right there, that's the big stuff that I wanted to hit at the very beginning.
Okay.
Before we dove into your gigantor list.
It's not that long of a list.
It's 14 pages. I'm kidding.
No, the first thing I did want to talk about was just knowing the anatomy and where the prostate is.
Woohoo.
And that type of thing. So I think we covered that pretty well.
Yes, so if you're on your back, boys, it's going to be on your belly button side of your body.
Yeah. And I think that's important to keep in mind, and we'll touch on this a bit later, but when you are playing with a dildo, if you've got a dildo that's curved, know which way it's curved towards.
Yes.
And that kind of depends on the position that the male is in. You know, if the male is, say, bent over the bed and the female is behind, you want the dildo to curve downwards towards the belly button. You don't want it to curve upwards towards the back.
Yeah, even though it may look more natural for it to be curved up, you want it to be curved down, because the point is for it to massage the prostate.
Right.
You want it to hit that prostate.
But if he's on his back, laying on his back, and you're on top, then you want it to be curved upwards, because again, you want it towards the belly button. So that's the main thing, is to just know the anatomy, know where the prostate is, and keep that in mind. Be cognizant of that when you're in various positions, and feel free, don't be shy to adjust the dildo accordingly, because that'll obviously make the play a lot more fun for everyone.
Indeed.
Yeah. But I would say when you're, the first thing, if you're looking at wanting to try pegging with your partner, and it's something that you maybe are interested in, is to talk with your partner about it and make sure that they're on the same page as you, that they want to try it as well, that, how are you going to go about it? You should be able to have an open dialogue and an open conversation about pegging and about anal play with your partner. If you can't have that conversation, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, and I would completely agree with that. You know, if you can't have a conversation about, look, I would like to try this.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I would advise you looking for maybe some kind of counselor or therapist who can help you work through these things, because you need to have somebody that you can have an open dialogue and conversation with. And if that person completely shuts you down from the beginning, for whatever reason, that's, I think, an example or a seed of a bigger problem.
Yeah. And again, if they aren't keen on it or aren't really interested in it, as well, be patient and give them time to get used to the idea, because whether you're the male or the female bringing up the idea, it can be an uncomfortable topic and a little squicky for people. From the male's perspective, you want to put a dildo in my ass, and not all guys are comfortable with that. That can be a kind of a no-go zone, and that can be something that really turns them off. And then from a female perspective, it's, you want me to put what where, and so again, it's that whole mentality that, you may be interested in it, but if your partner isn't fully on board from the beginning, give them time, talk about it, maybe watch some videos together, but just don't force it. But at the same time, don't pursue it unless you're both on the same page.
I completely agree, and I think this is the time to really say, look, we live in a very, very heteronormative world.
Yeah.
the idea for many men, and I think many women as well, that a man either wants or a woman wishes, whatever, to put something up a man's ass, automatically the first thing they think of is, I'm not gay. Pegging has, and anal play alone with a heterosexual partner, has nothing to do with sexuality.
No, it doesn't.
And it's something that really kills me, that people always assume that sexual play and sexuality are the exact same thing, and that is fucking ridiculous. And just because I like lasagna and spaghetti does not make me Italian. I'm not Italian. I am as far as you can get from Italian. But I love Italian food. So I think that idea that because I like pegging must mean I'm gay is something that we as a society really need to get over. Suck it up. It has nothing to do with your sexuality. Yeah. It has to do with what you enjoy and what you find pleasurable. Mm-hmm. Because if done right, it should be enjoyable. It should be pleasurable. And I agree what you say. Bring it up. Ask them their thoughts about it. How do you feel about this?
Yeah.
And then tell them your thoughts about it. This is something that I wanted to try, or this is something that I think is interesting, or I saw this in porn, or I saw this on Deadpool. Yeah. I mean, if fucking Deadpool can do it, if Ryan Reynolds can do it, everybody can do it.
I would kind of like to do that with Ryan Reynolds.
Dude, there's so much I'd like to do with Ryan Reynolds.
If I could peg him, that would be amazing.
And the I don't remember the lady. Vanessa was her name in the movie.
I know, she's very pretty.
But, I mean, there's a million things that I would like her to do to me. Not important. Anyway, moving on. But also, when you're talking about this is something I want to do, make sure you explain why. Why do you want to do this? Why is it important to you? So, and I'll say what I get out of it, and then I'll let you say what you get out of it for why. But for me, I actually enjoy being the penetratee. I like being the receiver. It's something nice about, past all the medical benefits that we've already sort of touched on, for me, emotionally, there's something really nice about being able to, put myself in a position where I'm not in control. Mm-hmm. I'm the fucky, not the fucker. And to give that sort of, I'm going to get sort of, I don't know, woo-woo on this, but to give myself to you in that way. To be able to say, look, I'm being vulnerable with you. I want you to be dominant over me. There's something really nice about that. And there's also something really amazing about not having the control, about, and there's positions that we will talk about in which the man is in greater control, but a lot of the pegging positions, the man's not in control. The woman is in the position of power, and there's something really kind of, fun and hot about that, about giving the power over to you. So I think for me, those are the big things. That's what I like about it. So as the top, as the giver, what do you gain out of it?
So for me, I would agree with the, I would say more the emotional component. I like it when you are in that, I'm going to say, a more vulnerable position, because it's not as often that, this is going to be a gross generalization, but even just for me, but as a female, that I get to be in that kind of power position. Even when I'm more dominant, there's still, if I'm with a guy who is much bigger than me, and we've had it with partners, and I love it sometimes, but they can, take me and flip me and basically put me in whatever position they want. And there's something fun about that, but I also like being able to do that with a guy. And when we're pegging, it allows me to do that. And so then I'm in control of the situation, and the speed of play, the type of play, how it goes, the flow of everything. And it is a bit of that emotional component of, that you are the sub. And so I would say that that's a big part of it for me. The other thing is just from a purely a visual perspective. If I'm on the bottom and you are kind of kneeling over me, and again, we'll get into positions later, but if you're kneeling over me and, just kind of riding me from on top. I love seeing you, and I love seeing, the dildo going in and out of you. And I imagine that's how it would be for a guy when they see their cock going in and out of a woman. But there's something about that visual that is just very appealing. And then the same thing if you're bent over the bed and I'm going at you from behind, kind of more doggy style. Again, there's something about that visual of the shape of the body, from the shoulders down to the waist and the hips and all of that. It's just so sensual, and it really, really turns me on, just that visual aspect of it.
Yeah. No, I can totally appreciate that. I know you get a lot more vocal.
I do, yeah.
You're I'm not going to say you're quiet during sex, but when we're pegging, you are much more direct, and you're not just ooh, ooh, ah, ah, oh. You're very wordy, so you say, you become a lot more verbal.
There's a lot more dirty talk.
Yeah, a lot more dirty talk.
And that's what I would say as well, is if you're trying to ease into this with your partner, and it's something that you've agreed we want to try, or you're trying to, if you're really into it and your partner's not, and you want to make them a little more comfortable with it, you don't have to jump in with both feet. You can, but you don't have to. But what you can do is make that part of your foreplay and your dirty talk, and talk about it as you're, playing and kind of warming up and whatever. And you don't have to do it, but you can just talk about it and mention it, and just kind of get used to the idea of that being a possibility, of it being around, of it being a thing. And you can, again, use it in kind of foreplay and just do, a little bit of massaging and touching near the anal area without going actually to or in it. But it's just kind of making it part of the everyday and part of the norm for you. And then getting more comfortable with it that way before you even approach it.
And look, on top of that too, if you start having a conversation about it and your partner isn't 100% into it, let them think about it, let them sort of mull it over, but make sure that you circle back to it. You don't, just because you bring something up doesn't mean that you have to decide on it today. You don't have to decide on it right now, but let your partner think about it, and then make sure that you both set a time. Say, okay, in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, we're gonna bring this up again. We're gonna talk about it again once we've both had time to really mull it over and think about it, and decide this is what we want to do. But also, respect your partner's boundaries. Your partner's, if it's something that they're completely against, find out why first. And if that's the case, okay, respect that.
Because there may be other issues and other reasons why, so.
But, I'm gonna say that just because someone says because I don't want to, or because I don't like it, those aren't answers. Those are little shields or fences that we put up around our emotions, around ourselves, to say, look, I don't want you to ask me about this. I'm gonna call bullshit on that. Because I don't want to, because I'm not into it, because it's gross. Those are things that aren't, if you can't verbalize why you're not into it, or why you think it's gross, or whatever, you need to do that. You need to come up with a non-bullshit answer, because it may just be because you think it's gross, but verbalize why. I think it's gross because of it's dirty, and sure, that's a great answer, but it's not a good answer. Because there's things that we can do to clean ourselves.
And to minimize that.
And to minimize the risk of anyone ever seeing any poo. It always frustrates me of people who say, I don't like it because it's gross. Or I don't like it because it's gay. Or I don't like it because whatever. Those are easy answers to come up with, but oftentimes they're about as thick as tissue paper. They're easy to tear through, and if I can tear through it, then it's not that convincing or strong of an argument. So, come up with think about it and let them think about it and respect their response. But at the same time, don't let them get away with a bullshit answer. Come up with a reason. Have them come up with a reason, or you should come up with a reason. And it should be a good reason. And
if it's a deal breaker, then it is. But otherwise, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned cleanliness. Should we touch on that and how to prepare and clean yourself?
Sure, if you wish.
Yeah.
So, look, there's a lot of things you can do. Do we want to talk about, what do we want to talk about? Do you want to know what I do?
I would start with, if it's a planned session.
Okay.
So if you know
Yep.
that you're going to be, I have this date, or my partner and I we're gonna try pegging. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Say, Friday night. Then Friday, maybe Thursday even. Start thinking about your diet.
Oh, I was going to say, let's look at this. I think that's a great example. Let's assume that Friday night's the night we're going to do it.
All right.
So, if I know on Monday that Friday night's the night we're going to do it, I'm going to start on Wednesday.
Yeah. I would say at least a day, if not multiple days ahead of time.
Yeah. So I'm going to start on Wednesday, and I'm going to start looking very carefully at my diet. I'm going to eat a lot of good fiber, of fiber, but not a lot of things that don't digest well. So I'm going to stick away from corn. I'm going to stick away from beans, any seeds, and things like that. I am not going to consume. I'm still going to have a pretty fibrous diet, and I might take a fiber supplement. I have no idea what fiber supplements are available in Australia.
I have no idea
actually
either.
Looked. That shows you how often I do this. Because
and you don't have to, but it is a good way to kind of start cleansing yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're really squicky about anal play, this is where I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Take a fiber supplement, blah 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 blah. So, and that's if I've known on Monday. If I find out on Friday morning that we're going to try and do some anal play of any kind, I'm on Friday morning. I'm going to be very careful about making sure I have a very good, solid. This is going to be gross talk, folks. So if you don't like it, fucking deal with it. I'm going to have a good, solid bowel movement. Get as clean as I can from the inside. When I shower, I'm going to do one of a couple of things, probably both. The first thing I'm going to do is a nice soaped up finger is going to go up at least the first knuckle. If you can make it the second knuckle, that's better. And clean myself out. Another thing you can do is, whoops, that was my phone. I get all excited. I'm talking with my hands. Maybe I am Italian. Another thing I might do is get an anal douche of some sort.
Yep.
I would stick to the water ones, and for me, what I like to use is there's it's the same thing that you use on children.
It's like a little bulb,
the little bulbs to clean out their noses and ears, but it's a little bit longer. So you fill it up with warm water, not hot, not cold. For the love of God, not hot, not cold. With warm water, put a little lube on the end, insert it, squeeze as much of the liquid in as you can. Once again, this seems like common sense, but I can tell you from firsthand experience, do this outside of the shower. Do this near a toilet.
One of the Toys episodes you talked about this. It was pretty hilarious.
Did go back in our... Yeah, it's a horrific story.
It's kind of funny.
But other things, don't squeeze it and then let it suck back in.
Oh, God, yeah, no.
That's not a pleasant feeling. It does not feel good for that little thing.
That's not very clean for it either.
It's not very clean for it. These things can be cleaned. Look, you clean them. And I clean it every time anyway, but... Oh, the sucking back in is not a pleasant feeling, but you want to squeeze as much of the liquid into yourself as possible.
Pull it out.
Very careful that it doesn't suck open. You just kind of squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and then you pull it out. And what I like to do is I pinch myself tightly closed, and then I wash it while it's still in, the water is still in there. So, and again, just water. Don't add soap. Don't add anything. You don't need anything else because we're just trying to clean ourselves out. We're not trying to clean ourselves.
You don't need to sterilize.
Yeah, we're not trying to sterilize.
That actually does more harm.
Yeah,
so,
There's a lot of really good bacteria that's in your gut and that's in your anus that you don't want to get rid of. It's important shit down there.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
That's funny.
Right? I know. Yeah, so rinse it out, wash the outside, wash the inside, use toy cleaner on the inside and outside of this thing, and then let it dry hanging upside down.
Yeah.
Nozzle side down in your shower or whatever. And then just let it go over the toilet. Because it's not going to come out perfectly clean. And if you're really, really concerned about cleanliness, then do it a couple of times.
Do it again, yeah.
look, it's not going to come out perfectly clean the first time. I can promise you that. After the second or third time, it may come out and it's going to look just like water. Then you're probably fine with just about anything. Admittedly, I usually do it once, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot for you. Most of your partners aren't going to care.
No.
If you discussed it with your partner, discuss a level of cleanliness that you're trying to achieve.
But also, I feel like you have to be a little realistic and accept the fact that at some point there's going to be poo involved.
Yeah.
You just can't help it. There just is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't play in the mud without getting a little dirty.
Yeah.
So that's me.
And then also, that's good for cleaning the inside. But again, on the outside, especially, if you do all of that in the afternoon and then it comes evening time and you're getting ready to, actually get into play, it can always be a good thing to use a wipe on the outside.
Yeah. And that was my last thing.
Yeah.
Which, if it's all come down and it's like, holy shit, we're going to do this right now.
Yeah.
And I have had no time to plan or prepare, I'm going to get one of the After Dark Intimate wipes, break that out.
Yep.
Actually, I'll get two of them. One I will coat my finger with and try to clean out as much as I can really quick. And then the second one will be used to just wipe the area down.
The external area.
The external area down. Because, again, I want to be as clean as possible.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not, sometimes your partner A doesn't care, and B it's just
it's a little spontaneous.
Yeah, it's spontaneous.
Yeah.
It's just like, holy shit, we're going to do this now, which is also fun. But it goes down to poo is not stored there.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, even if you stick a finger up there as far as you possibly can, you're not going to hit anything. You're going to hit the inside of your body. There's not going to be that's not where poo is stored. So
Yeah, and the other thing too is, if we kind of move on into starting play a bit, is if you're, we always talk about starting with a finger. And so not going straight to Final Jeopardy and pulling out a big old dildo. You don't want to do that. You want to start simple, start small, start with a finger. If that squicks you out, if you're kind of weird about that, then use a latex or nitrile glove.
Yeah, or if you don't have a glove of any kind, unroll a condom, an unused condom.
Yeah.
That's almost finger-sized.
Yeah, and they make finger cots as well at the medical stores. You can buy them. But anything like that, you can cover your finger, whether it be with a condom or a latex nitrile glove. You can always use something like that if you really don't want to put your finger up there. And ladies, please, please, please trim your nails.
Oh, for the love of smokes, yes. Don't
have the little sharp, pointy, long nails. That's not good.
Yeah, that's less than pleasant.
Yeah, so definitely trim the nails. And should we move on to picking out a strap-on?
Sure.
So my suggestion there's all different kinds of strap-ons out there. There are lots of strappy ones. There's fabric ones. There's leather ones. There's panties. There's boxer briefs. There's crotchless strap-on panties. There's a whole variety of different things out there. My suggestion is pick whatever is comfortable on you, whatever makes you feel sexy. I personally like the panties and the crotchless panties.
I like to see those on you as well.
Yeah, for me, they're the most comfortable. They're the snuggest fitting, and they keep everything. They keep the dildo really in solid position where it needs to be. And when I move my hips, I feel like the dildo moves very easily with them, so I have a lot more control over it. With the strap ones, even if they're snug and tight, I feel like the dildo has a little more movement to it, and so I don't have as much control. It takes a lot more movement on my part as far as the body goes to make it move just a little bit. That's my personal opinion. The strappy ones, the leather ones, whatever, they're all sexy, they're hot, they look really good. I don't find them as functional.
Yeah.
Everyone's mileage is going to vary a bit. And there's all different kinds, so just, pick one or two, try them, see how they go. I would suggest kind of warming up with the strap-on on, so not, wearing it around a little bit before you actually go and start play. Wear it around the house, I mean, not like while you're doing dishes and things, but just kind
Or
of
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But learn how it moves, how it feels, how comfortable you are with it. Again, how much and how little movement of your body, of your hips, do you need to make it move, to what degree. And that way, when you're using it with your partner, you kind of have a feel for what you need to do as far as your movements go.
Yeah.
But again, I like the panty ones. They, to me, feel the most secure and the most stable. But we have a lot of partners who do like the strappy ones. And again, they're hot, they're pretty. I just don't feel like I have as much control with them.
So how do you feel about the strapless strap-ons? You want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah. So I like the strapless strap-on.
And by strapless strap-on, what it has is it's a dildo with a giant. Imagine a kind of a squashed boomerang.
Yeah.
So part of the boomerang is engorged and goes up inside the vagina.
It has like a bulb that
Yeah.
goes inside the vagina.
And so the idea is the lady clamps on it with her pelvic floor muscles, I guess, and then the rest of it sticks out like a penis.
Yeah. So we've got one that we've used a bit. Admittedly, I've used it with female partners probably more than with you. But I've used it with you a few times, and it does have a vibrator on it, which is really nice. Again, some of the panties and the strap-ons that you can get have a place for a vibrator around the clit area, which is really nice as well. So it provides the female with a little bit more stimulation while they are fucking the guy. But the strapless strap-on that we have does have a vibrator with it as well, which is, I like that. We'll have to look back at what brand it is. I know we talked about it in one of the early...
Fun Factory, I believe.
Is it Fun Factory? Yeah, because we talked about it in one of... Oh, yeah, it is. Because the little vibrating part.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it in one of the toy episodes as well. But it has a nice big bulb to it, so it's easy to hold on to. Some of them have smaller bulbs that fit into the vagina, and they don't necessarily stay as easily.
Yeah.
And when I put it in, I only put... If we've not had a lot of foreplay and not a lot of warm-up, so I'm not super wet, then I'll put just a hint of lube to get it in, but not a lot because I don't want it to just slide right out.
Pop right out.
Yeah. But if we've had a lot of foreplay and I am nice and wet, then I don't even bother with the lube to put it in.
Yeah.
I think it is good, though, but it's only good because of how it's curved. And you can't really turn it around very easily.
Sure.
So it's only good if you're on top of me or I'm on top of you, kind of missionary style. It's not as good if we're doing a doggy style.
Right,
Because
yeah.
I can't, because it is curved and I can't turn it around as
No,
easily.
at all, yeah.
Yeah, and so it is good, but only for certain positions. And so that's kind of one of those we have to feel out how we're playing. And it's not out of the realm, if we're playing and we have a long session, we can start with that, or even finish with that. But we can use either that or the panties and the strappy strap-ons, whatever. We can use those in combination. So we can start with one, move to the other. It doesn't have to be uninterrupted play. It's kind of like any play. There can be ebbs and flows, and you can take a break, and it's like, okay, let's try this. Either we didn't or we did like that. Let's try this instead. And so it doesn't have to be a continuous, nonstop type of scenario. But yeah, no, I really do like the strapless strap-on because it gives me a bit of a different sensation as well while we're using it. And I also feel like that one probably ultimately gives me the most control and feels more penis-like than any other.
Well,
because it is somewhat
attached
attached to me.
Like,
Yeah.
So you look at and you talked a bit about this, the variation in dildos. So we've got dildos that are extreme beginners. We're talking I would have said 4 inches, so whatever that is,
And very thin.
5.5, 6 centimeters, I guess, and very thin, like this.
Basically, just bigger than your pinky.
Yeah, about your pinky size.
Yeah.
Up to some of the ones that I really like there's one that we have that's an orange one that is basically 4 or 5 balls that are stuck together, and those balls really help. Again, it's massaging the prostate. It's bam, 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 bam with each thrust and pull, and that's such a great feeling to have that. That's why anal beats feel so good, is that it's hitting the prostate and it's pushing against the prostate, so you get that push release, push release, push release. And then there's something really nice about one that's many of our dildos are non-penis shaped.
Right. Yeah.
They're either smooth or they've got little ridges or whatnot. And some of the ridges I don't like, sharper ridges I don't like. But some of the actual penis shaped ones are kind of nice. And we've got one that we got recently that is just a bit bigger than me.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like being fucked by myself.
And it's the texture of it is so soft, so amazing. I love it. I think, do you recall, is that one from Fleshlight?
We bought it from Fleshlight.
But they may not be the manufacturer
I think
of it.
they're just a distributor of the brand, and I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the brand either, but we'll have to look it up because it feels so real, so soft, and
because we got it at Sexpo in Brisbane.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's a good size. I really like it.
Yeah.
Both for me and for you.
And it's very realistic looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's a good point. It's like it doesn't have to be realistic looking. What turns you on is the thing. And I think that's what turns you on as the lady looking down at it between her legs and the gentleman who is receiving that. Some guys, I get it. If it's too penis-like, you may think, again, you might have that. Yeah. It's amazing to me how men are terrified of cocks. You've got one and you use it all the time, but you're still afraid of it. Something wrong there. But, if you want something that looks like just a dildo, then fucking get something that looks like just a dildo. And if you want something that looks anatomically correct, there's plenty of options out there for that as well.
Yeah. And you can always try out smooth versus the textured ones because there's, like you said, we've got the one that looks like it's kind of the beads stuck together. We've got some with ridges on them. Some have the veining like a cock would have. So all different kinds of textures, smooth, whatever. And sometimes you may be in the mood for different things as well. You don't always have to use the same thing. So you may feel like I want this one tonight. I want that one.
And that's
another
what
night,
I think we have probably 7, 8
easily,
different dildos, and it just depends. And sometimes we start with one and we'll move to the next one, which goes to the how easy is it to switch out. So make sure that whatever many of the strap-on harnesses that we have are ring-based. Yeah. So what that means is that your dildo is going to have some sort of flare at the end. That flare is big enough that it won't come through the O-ring at the end on the harness. So what that means is that in order to load or unload that dildo from that harness, it needs to go through that ring. Mm-hmm. So for what we tend to do, we will often dress the dildo in a condom. Mm-hmm. And if you are sexy pervs like us, then we all have expired condoms. We don't have expired dildos.
No, I don't think those expire.
I don't think we have expired condoms, and so we'll use those on our toys rather than with our partners because you don't want to risk I mean, it's a toy, so there's no risk of pregnancy or disease. So, yeah. It's
more just for easy cleanup and that kind of thing. So, yeah, we like to use the old condoms on those, or just buy cheap condoms. If there's a particular condom that you want to use with your partners, then that's great. For us, they're not the cheapest, the ones that we like, and so we use the expired ones, or just go down to the store and get the cheapest thing there is. Use those with toys. Yeah. Because it doesn't really matter as much with those. It's more just again for easy cleanup and ease of use kind of thing.
Yeah. And so then you take the condom off, toss it away, and then you can do the changing of the dildo. And we do that. I would say most play sessions that we have, we go from one dildo to the next. Yeah. And we might be changing position. It's like, let me change the dildo. Yeah. And whether that's change the way the dildo is pointing or change the dildo itself.
Yeah, because a lot of times we'll start with something smaller and then just kind of work up. Or we may start smooth and then want to go to texture. It just... kind of depends.
You said that perfectly. Start with something smaller and move up.
Yeah.
So inside the rectum, you've got two. You need to imagine two little O-rings. The first one is we all know it. It's the one on the very outside of the rectum, of the anus. That's that anal sphincter. And then there's one. I think it's an inch and a half in. So 2 to 3 centimeters in. It's another O-ring. Those are two muscular O-rings that that's what holds everything inside. They don't want things. They tend to not like things to enter. So you need to learn to relax those two muscles. So the question is, how do you relax those two muscles? for me, the easiest way to relax those muscles is to start with a small butt plug or start with a small dildo. Once my body gets used to that, I can move to the next size. And then once my body gets used to that, I can move to the next size. I think a lot of us are disillusioned by porn, where we see men or women go from nothing to gaping asshole in the matter of seconds.
And that's not reality.
That's not reality.
Yeah.
That's not how the body works. There's nothing you can do to train your body to go from, having nothing there to having something, to being fisted in the matter of no seconds or even a minute. You have to relax those muscles. You have to you either train those muscles, but even if you've trained those muscles, you can't go that quickly from nothing to fisting.
And I would even say start a little bit beforehand and, make sure that if you want to do pegging with your partner, make it a nice, relaxing evening and kind of get them relaxed and into the mindset a bit. Start very slow, massage them. It's always, you can always take some time and give them a nice massage, kind of massage the legs, massage the ass, get that area kind of loosened up.
Get the blood flow.
Yeah, get the blood flow going, get it relaxed, and just kind of do some light fingering around the anal area and just get it kind of used to just, there's going to be some play here and just kind of start working on that before you ever think about entering them. But just kind of start really slow, and that can happen even in multiple sessions. So you can do a lot, do some of the massage and the external fingering and the massaging, and I'm making a motion that people on the podcast can't see. But
maybe
just,
you're Italian too.
Maybe, but just some external play with your fingers and your hands, but just to kind of get them used to the idea that there's going to be some play around here, if they're not used to that. And you can kind of, then when you do decide to actually enter them, again, use a finger, use a tiny little dildo. It doesn't have to be super huge. You're not going straight to Final Jeopardy. Yeah, so warm-up is definitely important. And it is important to kind of get going slowly and make sure that your partner is comfortable, the scene is set. It's something that you want to make sure that you're both really in the mood for. I
completely agree. Unfortunately, I know I'm going to have to cut you off.
Is it
right
that
there.
time already?
It's that time already. Oh. So we've been rambling on about the preamble to pegging. So we're going to split this into 2 episodes.
Wow! Look at that.
Yeah. So join us next week, folks, when we talk about some of the myths behind pegging, positions for pegging, and then I guess the actual act of pegging. Yes. we started our pegging podcast without actually getting to pegging. So we'll discuss
a little.
We'll discuss the nuts and bolts, pun intended, behind pegging next week, along with some other fun stuff. Ooh. In the meantime, if you have questions regarding pegging, regarding swinging, regarding bisexuality, regarding anything, please hit us up, the atomsoflove@gmail.com, or on our Facebook page. Search for By the By Podcast. We are also on Twitter @By the By Podcast, and we're on Instagram now. We have continuity because we are on Instagram @By the By Podcast. So if you've got questions for myself or Angela, please send them out to us. We always love to hear from you guys, and we've had some really great feedback in the recent past. Help us out by rating us, reviewing us on iTunes, especially, because that helps us get out there. It helps our people find us. So if you like us,
leave us a review wherever you do listen to us.
Yeah. And that helps us so that when you search for sexuality and bisexuality especially, it helps for folks to find us, and we really, really appreciate that. So until next time, keep it sexy, San Diego.